Hello and welcome to HTV. I'm Heather Ramsay. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So you are the Huu-ay-aht of the Huu-ay-aht First Nation?
Yeah, I'm from Huu-ay-aht First Nation, yeah, I am, which is in the Barkley Sound, Banfield area. It's a First Nation, one of the First Nations on the west coast of Vancouver Island, which is comprised of about 14 or so First Nations, different nations on the west coast of Vancouver Island.
So you were an elected chief councillor once?
I was elected back in 2011 for a term.
What's the difference between an elected councillor and a elected chief and a hereditary chief?
Elected council is voted in, and the hereditary system it's passed down from family to family or generation to generation. I guess you can compare it to the English monarchy system, where it stays in the family basically, whereas elected, people vote you in.
Do they do different things?
Well, traditionally, yeah. Of course, the elected is the governing body today, but in the past it was hereditary. They were the government of the day before discovery of North America, I guess, and a lot of people, a lot of nations across Canada and the States had the hereditary system.
So you were Citizen of the Year in 2017?
Yes, I was, yeah.
Why were you?
Why was I? I worked in the forest industry for 40 years, and then I retired, sat around for 2 years, and then just, I wanted to get involved in the community, so I started volunteering for different organizations. There are a ton of organizations in the valley that people can belong to. So I had a really hard choice, choice on who to volunteer for. So I focused on, I want to help young families and youth and, disadvantaged people, I guess. So I chose some of those organizations to belong to. So Rotary was on one of them. I did deliveries for the Salvation Army. I joined the basketball association, Alberni Basketball, Alberni Athletic Association. The Toy Run, I was a member of the Toy Run. I'm still a member of the Toy Run. And that was my main focus back then. And still a lot of it is today.
What are some of the stuff you do as a volunteer?
Volunteer, well, for Rotary Club, we have raised money and particularly do volunteer work in the community. Like, we do the litter cleanup, Earth Day, I guess it was. We do that. We raise money by selling raffle tickets, and the money we raise goes basically towards youth bursaries and education programs. The Breakfast Club, we raise money for the high school breakfast club. The Toy Run, the Toy Run, their annual fundraiser focuses on the Toy Run itself, and they raise good substantial amount of money to support the kids in basically the valley. Their tagline is for the kids, so that's why I joined. Even though I don't ride a bike, I love their tagline.
What stuff do you do with the Toy Run?
Toy Run, most of my time is spent volunteering at the annual event, which is such a huge undertaking to do the Toy Run, where maybe up to 7,000 to 8,000 people bikes ride into town, and then of course they have the Toy Run fun games there. They have games for the kids at Glenwood Center. They hand out food for the kids and families, hot dogs, and I pay I do play a small role in that, and but they have a great organization to run that.
So you mentioned you work in logging?
I did for 40 years. I started in 1969, then retired in 2010, I think it was, and decided I had enough. And I enjoyed working out there at the Franklin River and Sarita Cameron area.
What was your favorite part of it?
Getting home. No, I guess my favorite part was, meeting a lot of people out there and doing some physical work. And in the end, I did end up running a machine, which was fairly easy, but you still had to focus because you had moving machinery around you and you had people working close by, so you had to pay a lot of attention to your surroundings.
What was the most difficult part?
Most difficult part, I think in the end was getting up, 5 o'clock in the morning and, getting out and getting on the bus and trying to deal with the weather, a lot of different, rain, snow, heat. That was the most extreme. I guess the other part was because the logging industry was it's seasonal, weather dependent. You'd have heat in the winter and snow and rain during the fall and winter months, so you weren't too sure of, sometimes where your paycheck was going to come from. But it sustained me for 40 years. So, the other thing I do with our family is every year we raise funds with my daughter Sharie and her daughter Sarita, which I think you know. We go out and sell raffle tickets. We raise money for every year for a cause everywhere. We pick a cause, and the last 2 years we've been giving out basically food hampers and gifts for disadvantaged families or low-income families, but they have to apply. So I think every year we raise between $7,000 and $9,000 every November, December, and that's it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding in the end when you get to see how grateful a lot of the people are.
Today I'm going to be interviewing the mayor, Sharie Minions. So, what do you do as a mayor?
That is a great question. A lot of things. It's interesting, when I decided to run for mayor, a lot of people asked me, what do you expect to do? And after my first year working in this role, I think that I realized that what the job of mayor is and what you kind of think the job of mayor is going to be as you're getting started, certainly very different. So my role really is leader of the community at functions. I get to be the spokesperson of the community, which is just a really cool job to get to go out and represent the community. But my most important role is the leader of council. So the 7 of us working together are responsible for making all of the important decisions in the community. And as mayor, I get to be the head of that group and get to keep council on track. Often I joke with my council that although I'm just about the youngest one on council, I am the mom of council. So there's a lot of similarities between parenting and being the mayor, for sure.
Is there something that you are really proud of that you and the council have done?
Yeah, there's so many things, but I think that for myself, what I am most proud of in the just about 4 years now that we have been in this role is acquiring the SOMAS land. So that was a really big project for us. For me, it was the reason that I decided to run for mayor was I really wanted to see a change in the use of those lands. It's 43 acres right in the heart of our community on the waterfront. I wanted to see a big change there, and now the city owns those lands and we're able to really determine what we want to see and have an active role in changing the future of the waterfront in Port Alberni. So that is, I would say, the thing that I am most proud of, the step that we've taken that I'm most proud of. And if I could choose one other thing, I would say how my council has worked together. We really enjoy working with each other. We are able to debate and disagree and still leave the room and be friends and enjoy each other. And usually when we do disagree, it's respectful, and that's something I'm really proud of as well.
So you are also a mortgage broker. So what does a mortgage broker do?
Great question. A lot of people don't know. So a mortgage broker is really like almost a personal shopper for a mortgage. So instead of just going into one bank and understanding what you qualify for with them or what their interest rates are, I have about 25 different lenders that I can work with. So I help a lot of young people and a lot of first-time home buyers buy houses in Port Alberni, which is really rewarding. And what I love about Port Alberni is it's certainly gotten a lot less affordable over the last couple of years, unfortunately, but a lot of people in their early 20s have purchased houses here, and that's something that you can't necessarily do in every community. So that's something I hope we're able to keep. That affordability is really important.
So you also own Brie & Barrels. So why did you want to run a restaurant?
Oh, I question that all the time. Why did I want to run a restaurant? Well, I started Brie & Barrel really because actually I went to Victoria one weekend to visit two of my sisters who live in Victoria. And we went to a wine bar restaurant there called The Farmer's Daughter, and they had wine flights and delicious cheeses and just really nice light meals. And I thought, this is something that Port Alberni doesn't have. My sisters and I had an awesome time that evening, just hanging out, relaxing, somewhere that was a little nicer and just easy to sit even if you're not having a meal, and just enjoy time with friends and family. And so I came back to Port Alberni. I couldn't stop thinking about that place, and I just thought this is something I'd love to see in our community. So started thinking about where it could go, and I'm a really big believer in the uptown area. So I started looking for spaces uptown and found the perfect spot in the old Carter Shoes building that I've always loved, and just really saw the vision right away and started working on it. So it's running a restaurant is a lot of work. Luckily, I've got a really good staff and really great group of people who do most of the work for me. I always kind of joke that I just get to enjoy the restaurant. I don't do a lot of working at it, luckily, but yeah, I enjoy being there, and I enjoy the energy, and the people who come in are usually really positive about the community and always want to talk about the things that they see happening and the momentum. And so it's really energizing to be there and talk with customers who are just really excited about the changes they're seeing in Port Alberni.
So what's your favorite part about running a restaurant?
Ooh. Good question. I would say the staff of people that I get to work with. Yeah, I have a really good group of people at Brie & Barrel. Most of them have worked for us just about since we opened, which is really nice. It's coming up on 3 years now since we've opened, and yeah, just the same people, which is so nice. So they are really good at what they do. They're a lot of fun to be around, and because they've worked for me for so long, I feel like I've just got a lot of trust in them. I can leave them to run my business when I don't have time to be there, and always have full confidence in what they're doing.
One of the many businesses you own is Ineo. So what exactly is Ineo?
Ineo is an employment support place for people who experience barriers to employment, where they can gain skills and confidence and work experience to find and maintain employment in our community.
So what does Ineo mean?
Ineo, that's a really good question. Ineo is a Latin word that means new beginnings.
How long has Ineo been around for?
Almost 24 years now.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
So why did you start it?
I started many years ago. I had an opportunity from the federal government who wanted to have a program called a Job Coach Mentor Program for people who struggled to find employment. And they asked community living to do it, and community living said no. So I partnered with a fellow by the name of Mike Roberts, who is now a school teacher. Him and I started Ineo to run the program, and then I bought Ineo from him for $1 after a year and grew it from there.
So what's your favorite part about being self-employed?
I don't think, that's a super interesting question, and I don't think that it's being self-employed that's really super important to me. I think more it's what I do that's really important to me. So helping people, that's the best part of it, of my job. And I think being self-employed, it's really important to me to be able to grow and develop and to make what I do fit the needs of the people and not fit them, have to fit the system.
So you also run the mattress recycling program.
I do.
So what do you do with the mattresses?
So we collect mattresses from the local landfill, from the Huu-ay-aht landfill, and from the Nanaimo landfill, and we take them apart, so we deconstruct them, we bale the foam and the material, and we ship it off to Vancouver where it's recycled there, and we take the metal to the metal foundry, and we are working on a project to do something with the wood. Right now we just give it away, but we would actually like to build something and sell it from the wood. So we cycle all the components and keep all those mattresses from our landfills.
So you also own Animal Art?
Yeah. It's a pet supply store where we actually sell fish, freshwater fish, saltwater fish, and some reptiles, and pet food and pet supplies, toys and stuff for them. And the reason I have both the mattress recycling and the pet supply is to provide work experience opportunities for people. Because when people struggle to find a job, they don't usually have very much experience, and so we offer them a place to do that where it's safe and they can learn.
So do you have any pets?
I do. I have a dog, and we have lots of saltwater fish. We have 3 different aquariums at our house. We did have tarantulas, but we don't have them anymore. And we did have a big, huge snake, but we don't have him anymore either.
So what's your favorite animal?
I don't know that I have a favorite. My husband really likes animals. Me, I love my dog, but I could probably be without a pet and be happy.
So you are also involved in the Chamber of Commerce. So what do you do with them?
I am the president of the board of directors. So the board of directors is actually the boss of the chamber, and so we hire the person who runs the chamber, which is the CEO, and we are kind of his boss, and so we direct, support and direct what direction the chamber should be going in.
So what does the chamber do?
Great question. It provides networking opportunities for our local businesses. We also advocate for our local businesses. So for example, when COVID hit and lots of businesses were struggling, we would find supports for them in different ways and share what our knowledge with them and how they could support themselves to get through the challenges. We help businesses to work together. We advertise and market for businesses. We work with the BC Chamber and the Canadian Chamber to affect policy that would regulate how businesses operate and support them that way.
So thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice to be here.
So thank you for coming. So you are the music teacher at my school. What's your favorite part about that?
My favorite part about teaching you and our other friends music is probably that we have a lot of fun. And people come to music, sometimes they're in kind of a grouchy mood, but then hopefully by the end of music, they're having fun and people like to sing and dance, so yeah.
So why did you want to become a music teacher?
I actually didn't know I wanted to be a music teacher. So I started out teaching grade 2-3 French immersion. And then when Mrs. Cheatham retired, Miss Morfitt said, you know what, Megan, I think you would do a really good job at that. And I said, well, I'll try it for 5 years. And now I've been doing it for 6, and I really love it.
So you also teach choir, so what made you decide to do choir?
Yeah, well, choir was just kind of part of the job. So when I came into the music teacher position, then that was just part of what you did as music. But I always loved choir. I was in a choir as a student, and I love singing with other people.
So our choir is doing a musical?
Our choir is working on a musical. I don't know if we're gonna finish it. Do you think we're gonna finish it?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if we have quite enough time this school year, but it's been a really fun project to work on.
So what made you decide to do the musical?
Well, I wanted a bigger project to work on, and I thought that the kids would probably like doing a project. And so this musical, did you remember what it's called?
Summer Camp, a musical caper about finding a place to belong?
Good, because I didn't remember what it was called. I knew it was called Summer Camp. So this musical is about Bonnie the blogger, played by you, and then her friends, and she kind of discovers what camp is like, right, and what being part of belonging to a group is about.
You also have a mediation company, is that right?
I do have a mediation company. So my mediation company is called Pacific Rim Mediation, and I work after school and on the weekends.
So what is mediation?
Yeah, so mediation is when two people are in a conflict, or it could be more than two people are in a conflict, and it's a way of getting people to communicate with each other and try and work out what is at the heart of the conflict and what kind of ways forward. So sometimes grown-ups get into conflicts and then they end up having to go to court, and it's really expensive, and it's pretty stressful too. So if we can not go the court route and work things out in a room or on Zoom together, then that's better for everybody.
So why did you decide to be a mediator?
Oh, because I went through mediation myself, and I found it to be a really constructive process, a really good process. And I realized that this could be helpful for a lot of people in our community. And right now, I'm the only practicing mediator in Port Alberni, but I also have clients from all over the island because I do it on Zoom too.
What kind of training do you need to be a mediator?
Yes, so I did a program through an online college, and then you do like role plays. So that was really fun and interesting because it's kind of that drama side. And so that was a 240-hour certificate. And because I'm already a teacher, I had some of the prerequisites for that. And then since then, I've been taking lots of different courses on different aspects of mediation. And then it's just the practical training, so on site.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part about mediation?
Oh, my favorite, so sometimes I also mediate between parents and teenagers. And that's been a really interesting part of my job. And I think my favorite part is when the teenagers kind of give me a little bit of feedback about how they've felt heard and that they finally feel like their parent understands what they're trying to say or what they're where they're coming from. And I've had really great feedback from parents, thanking me for helping them to understand their child and giving them different strategies and stuff.
So what's the most challenging part?
Well, mediation, because it's conflict, right? So people are in some kind of argument. It can be, there's lots of really hard emotions that go with that. And that takes a lot of energy. So as the mediator, you need to remain neutral. And so you're just facilitating the conversation. And so that can be tricky sometimes when people are really, really angry.
Is there anything else you would like to share?
No, I do better being answering the questions.
So thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks so much, Heather. This has been great.